live the life beyond the boundaries we set on ourselves, to live and to run boundless, to be inspired, to achieve, to overcome the mountaintop in our life. Embrace the journey, become boundless.
Hello, family. Welcome to another episode of Live Run Boundless. After the first episode of 2021. Today's guest is someone who stepped into the unknown of life and running. Born and raised in Italy, moved to the U.S. He went from becoming an international model on the cover of magazines to discover his passion as an international runner. Not just a runner, but an international ultra-marathoner. Some of his many accomplishments in the world of professional ultra runner are for one of them, like 20 ultra marathon races that exceeded 100 miles. That's a lot. He won his first race in January 2012, 50-mile race in South Florida, which he was living at. And I think we first moved to the U.S.
Yep.
The winner of Badwater 135 in 2018. San Diego Trail 50, he played first. Also, he set the course record during that race, and I'm mistaken. Yep. And that's big time right there. Also, the Sean Bryant 50, and also in the Gobi Desert. That's in the right, Gobi?
Well, the Gobi was not really a race. It was an expedition that I did for myself, and that was about 1,100 miles.
Okay, then. Okay, 1,100 miles. Okay, then.
A whole stretch covering from from the beginning of the desert to what is considered its end.
All righty. Wow.
Started from the east all the way to the west.
Oh, man, that's great. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Also, in another race, he had a course record and Beyond Limit Ultra. And also another record, a Guinness Book World Record.
Yep.
For the fastest ever crossing of you got to have your not that
the Atacama Desert in Chile.
You had to come out there. I watched that on YouTube. That was a race, but what's a run that you done, right?
That was another expedition similar to the Gobi one. Yeah.
Okay, then that's crazy. and
I heard that before.
and recently, last year, he was the winner of the 2020 Moab 240. And
that's right.
Outside running all over the world, he found time to coach other people. He's a yoga teacher. Also, he committed husband to a beautiful wife, and he reside in our own backyard. Like my own backyard, someone's own backyard in Southern California. Yep. So welcome our next guest, family, Mr. I'm gonna call Mickey. Mickey
Graglia.
Yeah.
I'll say my own name, Mickey Graglia.
Yeah. Say your name. Yes.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, Kenneth.
Yeah, definitely. Glad to have you. So how you doing in this beautiful day in Southern California?
Well, I got to tell you, despite everything, all the madness that is going on in the world, I cannot complain. Life is, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I recently, over the past season, I left LA where I resided for over 7 years. And I got a place in Big Bear Lake up in the mountains here in Southern California. So, nice. I feel very privileged to be able to be in nature and enjoy the trails and be out there as much as I want. Yes,
because I feel it. I love nature and trails. They're always, but I understand what you're saying.
You got to come up here so we can share some miles.
Oh yeah. I need to work my way up just a little bit,
We can start with a few miles. Doesn't need to be long.
Okay, sound good. All righty. But before that, like I tell people, I talk about it's a process, a journey to get to where you're at.
Yep.
But your journey started in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
So how was life growing up there? Were you an athlete? Did you play in the sports?
Well, I come from a very small town and on the northwest coast of Italy, so very very close to the French border.
Yes.
And I come from I gotta say, I'm very fortunate. I come from a good family, and
Yeah.
with good values, and I was fortunate enough to be able to be in that part of the world where I had access both to the ocean and the Alps.
Oh, nice.
So oh, you broke down for a second. There
I
we go.
know. Okay then.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you. I hear you.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
So I was just saying that I was fortunate enough to grow up in that part of the world where I had access to so much beauty,
Yes.
and I think that's where right from a very young age my family instilled that deep passion, deep appreciation for nature,
Yes.
and of course life takes you on completely different paths.
Yeah.
I started, of course, like everybody else, I went to follow my studies and eventually
Yeah.
started working, started a career, and it kind of derailed me from that initial
Yeah.
passion.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And then, after a few years working, I was working in the family company in the floral export business.
Oh wow.
I was at the time, I was about 22, 24 years old, and
Yeah.
I was traveling basically internationally from
Wow.
California to Japan, literally,
Oh, okay.
to work on the business, increase
Yeah.
the sales, find new customers, and all of that.
Yes.
And I would come to the country pretty often, especially Miami, New York.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
and so at that point, I was 24 years old. It was 2007,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I found myself in a position of, I was like, I want to do something for myself. I want to,
Yeah.
I want to do something more. I felt very comfortable where I was, but I
Yeah.
needed, I felt that urge of doing something
Yeah.
for myself.
Yeah.
And so, I was like, I'm going to go to Miami for a brief period of time.
Okay.
I'm going to improve my English, and I'm going
Yeah.
to see if there's a chance perhaps I can even open a branch over there. So,
Nice.
I took off with literally just the shoulders, the clothes on my shoulders, and and that's when
Yeah.
things happen. If you
Okay.
throw yourself out there,
Yes.
you never know what's going to come your way. And
I agree. I agree.
yeah, just about a week after I was in South Beach, I was still looking for an apartment. So that tells you how precarious the whole thing still was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
by chance, I got scouted by a modeling agent.
Oh, nice.
That very day, I signed a contract, and my life changed
Oh, wow.
completely.
Oh wow. So the first day.
But the first week, it was one of the first weeks. I was thinking it was maybe the first day in South Beach. I was
Oh,
still,
wow.
I had pieces of advertisements looking for apartments and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going out scouting for places and got struck by a thunderstorm, dove into the first place I found,
Yeah.
and there she was. She came to me, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we started talking, and
Yeah.
less than an hour later, I signed a contract that completely changed my life.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yeah.
You didn't expect that to happen.
Oh no, I don't think anyone would ever expect that.
I know.
It's one of those things that it's one of those things that only happen in movies.
I know.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like one of those sliding door moments. I don't know if that thunderstorm didn't come, who
Yeah.
knows what have happened.
Yeah, I know. It just right time, the right moment.
That's right.
It was meant for a reason.
Yeah. And so that day, to pick it up from there,
Yes.
I basically dove into that whole new
Yeah.
career.
Yeah.
I left the floral business, and I was like, I'm going to pursue this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because imagine, I was 24 years old, just
Of course.
arrived in the country.
Yeah.
I get presented with this great opportunity, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is amazing.
No. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. And right off the bat, right out of the gate, I started working very well. I started traveling the world,
Oh, man.
different places.
Wow.
Lived incredible experiences. Incredible, it was an amazing career.
Yeah.
Very good money as well.
Yeah.
And then one thing led to another, and eventually, not even a couple of years later, I moved to New York.
Oh,
So
wow.
I left South Beach, moved to New York to pursue
Mhm.
fashion at the highest level.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's when things cracked.
Things cracked, huh?
Yeah, things cracked. Things cracked. Unfortunately, it wasn't as perfect as they tell you it is.
Oh man, oh
Yep.
no.
Yep. So it got to the point where I just, I didn't feel fulfilled. Despite the success,
Yeah.
whatever way we can
Yeah.
define success.
Yes.
But I was financially, doing pretty well. I was living
Yeah.
the good life in the big city, working with the biggest companies and bigger photographers. And I was like, this should be the accomplishment of a dream.
Yes, of course.
But it just wasn't.
It
just didn't answer those existential questions.
Okay, so it wasn't fulfilling. I mean, you had everything in the world, you had no need, but you feel like something was missing.
Yeah, exactly. Something was missing. Something that would give me purpose in a way,
Okay. So so how do you discover what was missing? Or what did it take for you during that process for being an international model?
Right.
What did it take to become an international ultra trail runner? How that process happened?
Well, it's like, it's one of those defining moments that, I think before you actually take charge and make changes in your life, you have to hit rock bottom.
Yes, totally.
And I hit rock bottom in about, I would say, the summer, fall 2009.
Okay.
I was very much at the top of my career, and
yes.
and I came to really, it's very hard to put into words, but I was living a very unhealthy lifestyle related to that, drinking and drugs and all of that. It's just because it's part of that.
Definitely.
It's what make it. That's what they portray as the dream to pursue, as the things to follow, to be in the in crowd. You go out to clubs and you're in the VIPs and the celebrities, and you drink and do this and do that. And I went on a very, detrimental downward spiral, and got to the point where I even, it's always hard to say, but I contemplated to literally end it right there. I was contemplating to bring it all to an end.
Yeah.
And that was the ringing bell. That was the time that I was like, I'm very young still. It would be a shame to just give it all up. And so I came to the realization that if I changed my life before, I could do it again.
Wow.
And so, I went through a process of deep, in a way, like exploration of my realm, not just within, but also of everything that was around me.
Yes.
And by chance, I stumbled upon an UltraMarathon man. By Dean Karnazes.
Yes.
And I'm very fortunate to call Dean a friend right now. I know him, and we've been in touch, by emails, and we've ran together at times and stuff like that. And I told him, his book not only changed my life, but he literally saved it.
Wow.
And that point, he truly opened up my eyes to a whole new world that I didn't even know existed at that point. I knew marathons, but I didn't know ultramarathons. I didn't know what this whole thing was about.
I know. Yeah.
And his words were so piercing. They were so sharp. They were so. They just touched me. It was just like it was like a lighting bulb. Like, okay, this is it. I want to try. to see what he's talking about. I was so fascinated about this concept of going beyond the physical. And so, in a matter of few years, I dedicated myself to the craft, and eventually, after a couple of years, I was able to make that transition, leaving modeling completely, leaving the whole lifestyle behind me, and pursuing running wholeheartedly.
Oh wow!
And here we are.
Here we are. Well, wow.
I try to shrink it down as much as possible, but
that's good.
There's a lot of emotions in there,
I understand. Just for me, for like a smaller level for me, I understand what in that dark moment,
Yep.
in my early 20s, wherever, I had to like go through, like had to fall a little bit, I had to go through some
Yep.
rough time, in order to see the light,
Yep. Yep.
But
Exactly. I think we can all relate in a way or another to that
yeah.
great sense of, dissatisfaction
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
needing for something bigger than
Oh
ourselves.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And you all can relate in one, well, probably different levels of it for like status or, stuff
Yep.
like that. Boy, some way we all can relate to that, so
Yep. Yep.
yeah. But, and so you quit the modeling agency, quit modeling at like 2011, you quit it?
Well, that was about a couple of years after I read Ultramarathon Man in the Christmas time of 2010.
2000, okay then.
And at the very beginning of 2011, I started training,
So 11 that training, okay.
started running, like training.
Yeah.
And in May, so just about 5 months later,
Yeah.
I signed up I towed the line to my first race,
Okay then.
which was a 100-miler.
Your first rate was 100 miles. Wow.
I was curious to see what Dean was talking about. I was so curious and drawn to that. There was a great sense of curiosity to find out what that ultra running meant.
Yeah. So you really went to the unknown. You went and like, just like you would dive in, like
exactly. Head first. I'm like, if he can do it, I guess I can do it too. So let's do this.
Yeah, you didn't do no 3-miler, not half marathon.
No, that. I'm like, he's talking about ultra, going beyond. All right, that's what I gotta do. I didn't run any minute. And you know what the funny thing is? To date, I have not run an official marathon yet.
Oh my goodness! Oh my God!
That's how incredible it was. But it made sense to me at the time.
Oh, makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Hey.
I do not recommend it to anyone. Trust me. But
oh man, that's crazy. Well, I love that. I mean, you're definitely, we are different, we are unique. You're definitely a unique person. We're all unique in some kind of our own way.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So actually, Mr. Dean
Carnazes, yeah.
So he inspired you to be an ultramarathoner. See where your inspiration, your motivation.
He was by far the biggest inspiration.
Okay then. Awesome. That's great.
Sparked the light, and I've been pursuing that since then.
Okay.
As I mentioned to you, it took me I ran a few races in between 2011 and 2014, those 3 years period, where I was still, of course, I still had to pay the bills. You know what I mean? I still had to live. I still had a place in New York, and I, I was trying to make that transition. I didn't, what he inspired me to do was the fact that, in his book, he talks about the fact that he reached that success, the material success. He had all the things he wanted, and I did too. Mm-hmm. And despite that, he didn't find any, he wasn't happy. He didn't find any purpose in what he was doing. And I was in the same situation. So I was like, he found purpose in running these extreme distances in extreme conditions, and he made it his career. So that's what inspired me. I was like, if he did it, I can do that too.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, in about a 3-year span, I was able to knock out a few good results. And in 2014, 2015, I actually signed my first contract with Ultra at the time, and and that became my career at that point, and that is something I pursued for the last 5-6 years.
Okay, it was a wrap,
Yeah. It was definitely a tough transition because, of course, you can imagine, the contracts in our sport are not the ones in the NBA.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, it's always hard to leave a successful career where you have a financial success to then pursue this world. But I was so driven and so convinced about that vision that didn't matter at the time.
Oh, that's crazy. I get what you find your passion, this will matter, everything else.
Exactly.
Yeah, everything else will fall in place, Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, because some of the races that you've done the past few years, you did a lot of racing in the desert. And more specifically, the Atacama Desert. How much sense in there?
Atacama, yeah, you got it right.
Atacama Desert. I saw a little bit clip of it on YouTube. I saw it. It was a race run that you decided to do.
Yep.
In Chile.
Yep.
I must say.
That's right.
Yeah. Tell the family about that experience. What makes you want to do something like that?
Well, it's like this was like one of the initial sentiments that I had right at the very beginning of before even I started pursuing this whole path.
Yeah.
I was always drawn to adventure. I was always drawn to to nature.
Yeah.
Of course, I love mountains and I love every aspect of it, but there is something unique about deserts.
Okay.
I love these expanses, these immense expanses. I love the diversity. Deserts are not just sand and flat. You have mountain ranges, you have rocky sections, you have dunes, you have so much in there.
Okay.
And so when what was it? I think it was right after my Badwater win in July 2018.
Yes.
I came to the point where I was like, okay, I think right now I have all the ingredients I need to tackle one of these adventures that I always wanted to undertake.
Yes.
Of course, it's not just about physical preparation, but it's about also, the right financial support.
Yeah.
So at that point, I had, a good amount of sponsorships that would allow me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And, in a very short window, we're talking about, mid-July 2018, I ran Badwater.
Yes.
As soon as I finished, I was like, I'm going to pitch this idea and I'm going to try to put together a team. Yeah. And right at the end of September, we were down in Chile. So less than 2 months, I was able to put together a budget, bring down people, guides, vehicles, supplies, all of that. And we started from the very northern boundary of the Atacama Desert. And we were going to head south, crossing the 600 miles of that rugged territory, being the driest place on earth.
Man.
And, I got to tell you, it was perhaps one of the most extreme and beautiful experiences to date. Just because, it was not, I love races because they give you the opportunity to get out there.
Yes.
But this wasn't about competition. This was about the experience itself.
Yeah.
It was an adventure. There's no ranking. There's no belt buckle at the end.
Yeah.
It was just me wanting to experience that beautiful nature, that rugged nature.
Yeah, I understand.
So we did.
Yeah.
And so we did. I ran 8 days and a half for 600 miles, about 60, almost 70 miles a day. With temperatures that will range from 120 to low 10s.
That's extreme.
High elevation. There were passes over 11, 12,000 feet. It completely exposed, so dry that they're not even cacti.
Wow.
They're not even bugs. There's nothing there. It's like the closest place you can find to Mars.
Wow.
And I gotta tell you, just being able to experience it on my own 2 feet, connecting with that extreme power, sleeping under the stars, eating by the fire. I mean, it's just like, it's so powerful, so unique, and so memorable.
All right. Wow. Yeah, it sounds like, the extreme, but the beauty of being out there at the same time, and just embracing the moment.
That's right.
And I think that what last year, 2020, I brought just embrace the moment. No races, nothing like that. Just go out there and just take your time and embrace the moment.
Yep.
Everything around you, while you're out there on the trails or wherever. So
Yeah, absolutely. You got it right.
Yeah. And so it takes some mental, strong mental mind to go to that too. To do it.
Yeah, that's what I think is the beauty of ultras. That's what I think is the key ingredient in our discipline. It very much ultra means beyond.
Yeah.
And ultra running, it's beyond the running. It's beyond the physical, and this is what truly fascinated me in the first place,
Yeah.
finding out that even when the body tells you to stop, you still have unlimited potential.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
truly boundless.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
we want to say it right, you know?
Yeah, how you beat the balance in running, balance in life, you know?
Yep,
I mean,
exactly.
it just
That opens
coincides.
up your perspective
Yeah.
and your attitude.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, totally agree. Um, so also like the course records, some of the races that you done, like the San Diego Trail 50, right out here, out here, where I'm at, San Diego 50. So
Yep.
do you, plan on doing course setting course record, or it just happened, you know?
No, actually, that came out of the blue, actually, because it was I don't want to boast, but it's
Okay.
like it was actually a training run.
Oh. That's you. I can understand that's you. That's what you do.
It was actually, a training run because that race happened in January 2016.
Yes.
And it was my last long run before
Okay.
heading to the Yukon,
Okay then.
where I had a 100-miler
Yeah.
just about a couple of weeks later.
Oh wow.
So to me, that was like, a little bit. It came a little bit of a surprise,
Yeah,
that course record, because of course, I ran,
Yeah.
but I wasn't very much focused on that.
Okay. Yeah.
And when I finished, I was like, okay, that's really cool. I'm happy with that. Though my side was already ahead. My side
Okay. For
was
your main race. Yeah.
in a main race that was going to happen a couple of weeks later.
Yeah. I got you.
In the northern territory of Canada.
Yeah.
Where I ran this Yukon 100 out in temperatures where they reached 40 below.
Whoa.
So it was one of the most extreme experiences I've ever done.
Oh my goodness. 40 below.
40 below.
I know 40 before. Yeah, 40. Yeah, man, that's beyond freezing.
Oh, well below. Well below freezing.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
it was, like one of those races that are, they're not just, an ultra is very challenging.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
But doing an ultra in those type of environments really emphasize the experience. It's almost like bad water,
Yeah, yeah.
That's when that was the year that I envisioned to do the two most extreme.
Yeah.
So in 2016 in the winter, I ran that Yukon again at 40 below, and 6 months later, I towed the line of bad water with temperatures almost 130.
Yeah,
so it was almost 170-degree span.
Man, I know about the bad water. I hear about the bad water races, not seed. Like, oh my goodness, shoes get burned on the side, running side in the road or whatever.
Yep.
All that, like, so it's that crazy. So you went from one extreme to another.
One extreme to another, yeah.
Yeah, so you want the punishment. Now you had to.
I was ready to take the pounding.
Oh man, that's cool. That's all. That's all. I mean, I do a few about 20-some miles, a bunch of hills, Now I climbed some high mountains, some friends,
Yep.
And just got sick, vomit, and stuff like that. I come back for some more,
No, totally.
On a smaller scale.
Yeah, I think that's when we feel the most alive. That's why we keep going, no matter how miserable and hard it gets.
Yeah.
We always go back for more.
I know, yeah.
We're all in the same boat.
I know. It's crazy, because I was like you said, you wasn't always like that. I wasn't always like that,
Right.
So but once I got that.
Well, I think like what I think is I think this discipline allows us to get back to our primordial selves.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I think there's something innate within us that enjoys that. I don't want to say suffering, but enjoys that challenge. Yeah, enjoy being put on the line.
Maybe.
And feeling alive. That's when you feel the most alive.
Yeah, I think so.
Doesn't matter how hard it is.
Yeah, I know. That must be it.
That's a lot of times in the middle of races or in the middle of some whatever hard endeavors you're doing, you're hating yourself. You're like, why am I doing this? Like,
I know.
you're throwing up,
I
your
know.
head hurts, your
I know.
body aches.
Yes.
And the moment you finish, you already signed up for something else. We all talk the same language here.
I know that crazy. Yeah, but I love it. I love it at the same time. Now we're going to go to like last year. You know, your recent race.
Yeah.
What's your why factor behind doing that particular race? The Mo 240. Just what motivate you to want to do that? You know.
Well, you know, I think that there's the 200s or longer.
Yes.
Right now have the same allure that the 100-milers offered a decade or two ago.
Okay.
So there's almost like a pioneering feel.
Okay.
You know, when we read about Gordon Ashley, about the Western States,
yes,
we read about, you know, the beginning of our sport, you know, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, you know, like when the sport was a baby and just, it was like an underground feel. Very few people were moving from marathons to Ironmans to 100-milers. So it was almost like an evolution of the understanding of our limitations.
Yes.
And for a very long time, you know, we all went for those 100-milers, not really understanding that that's just a number that we picked. It's a staple that we decided, just like a marathon. It's not necessarily the ultimate distance.
Yes.
And so, you know, nowadays with 100-milers not even being anymore a race of, you know, to see if you can make it to the finish line. Now there are speed races. I mean, look at some of the fast guys. You know, they're going around Western States in 14, 15 hours.
I know.
Absurd.
Yeah,
you know, that's almost like a speed race, right?
Yeah.
And so the 200s, they started tickle my curiosity again because they're becoming, I think, the new staple, the new limit on which not just you, but a lot of us are going to aspire to.
I see that.
And so, you know, 200, it's great, but if I can do 240, why not? More miles, more fun, right?
Yeah. So do you came in the race having confidence that you could win the whole thing? Were you confident that you could?
You know what? I gotta tell you the truth. Every time I toe the line, I go in with only one goal in mind, and that's to do my best. I never go in planning or thinking about winning. I don't think about that at all.
Okay.
So if I'm running during the race and it's like, okay, I have 20 miles to go and I'm in the top 1, 2, 3. Okay, then I think about it because, of course, you know, you want to give it a go.
Yes.
But the initial feeling has to be, in my opinion, or at least for my perspective, has to be detached from that. It has to be detached from competition. I have to be focused inside. You know what I mean? Like what happens outside doesn't really matter because, you know, if you train better than I did and you're having a great day, I cannot do anything about it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I can only do the best that I can.
Yes.
And so my perspective towing the line is always to be calm and clear and focused on the task ahead.
Yes.
Trying to be present and give my best at any given moment.
Okay. Then.
And if that best comes out to be the overall best, then eventually you get to the top of the podium.
There you go. And I see that the hard work doing that, you know, and think about yourself, you know, worry about yourself, not where you're worrying, but focus on what you could do. And that hard work out for you, you know. Just know your bio, some of the races that you know, so it definitely work out.
Totally, I appreciate that. You know, I think it comes down, you know, as you mentioned before, I'm a yoga teacher. I was a meditation coach. And I always try to bring it back to that. I always bring it back to meditation. You know, trying to create an untouched and unpolluted psychology, like an untouched mind.
Yes.
Where you can act unbounded.
Yes. Okay.
Literally. And I'm sorry to keep going back to that, but the idea is the fact that, you know, oftentimes when we think about time, when we think about pace, when we think about position, ranking, competition, we get outside ourselves.
Yeah.
And we already lose focus doing that. We waste energy.
Yes.
As I said before, you cannot control your competition. You can only control yourself. So the idea is always to bring it back within.
Yeah.
That's why I always call ultramarathon a spiritual journey in a way, because you
Okay, yeah.
detach from all the outside influences and
Yeah.
allow yourself to focus entirely on your in yourself. You listen to your voice,
Mm.
you give words to your emotions.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you know, being right here, that's my mantra pretty much going in every race, right
Okay.
here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Being fully focused in this very moment.
Be in the present moment. Yeah.
Because that's all I can control. I can do anything about what's been, and I cannot control what's going to happen.
Yes.
All I can do is do the best that I can do in this very moment.
Everything else will fall in place.
That's right. That's right.
I tell you, I say it all the time. Running life, you know, going to work, your career, you know, long you do your best, you know, everything else will fall in place, you know. And just
That's right.
Have the mindset, you know, you're doing your best, you give your all, you know, you just leave it else, you know, and take care of yourself.
Yep.
Yeah. So
and things will go as they have to.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so speaking of life and running, what have been your biggest obstacle or hill they had to climb to overcome your life? Now, I want to say, going back to we talked about earlier about the model, we hit rock bottom, but just to tell me your biggest obstacles had to get over.
Well, I think the biggest obstacle as a professional athlete is renewing your motivation.
Very nice.
Because of course, you know, what inspired me 10 years ago to leave everything behind and pursue this cannot work as a fuel anymore.
Okay.
That was exhausted already. You know, that served its purpose at that time.
Oh, yes.
And, you know, the inspiration that boosted me forward 5 years ago has nothing to do with the motivation that pushed me forward last year or 2 years ago.
Yes.
So almost like every season, every year, every month even, you have to find the one something, some higher calling in a way that you can draw energy from. Because, you know, it's easy to say, you know, we love to run, we get out there and it's all good and we enjoy ourselves. But, you know, the daily grind, it's real.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, when you train, you know, twice a day, like I do most often, it takes a lot of energy, dedication, commitment to stick to the plan and, you know, walk the walk.
Yes.
And so, you know, that's probably the hardest part. I think I had like one of the major crises in my running career about 2016, 2017, when I had in 2016, when I participated to Badwater that summer.
Yes.
I had a debilitating experience. I crashed. I finished, but I finished 25th. I didn't win that year. I won Badwater in 2018 when I went back.
Oh, you went back in there? Okay.
Yeah. So in 2016, I had a terrible experience. I was borderline. I was close to die at that point.
Oh man.
Like
physical.
I pushed myself.
Okay.
What's that?
It was physical sickness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had some pretty severe health issues throughout the race, and I still managed to finish, but after that, I was not only scarred physically, but also emotionally.
Yeah.
And so for the next season, it took me a very long time to kind of reassess what I was doing and why.
Yes.
The why.
Why? Yeah.
Is the question that you always have to ask.
Yeah, the why factor.
Yourself.
Yeah.
You know, people always ask you, you can give them whatever reason. Oh, I like to run. Why do you run so long? Because I love to run, and that's it. But the intrinsic motivation, what drives you, what fires you inside, has to be something profound, something deeper, in my opinion, that can transcend all the outside things. You know, it's not the money, it's not the fame, it's not, or whatever you can call it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Notoriety.
Yes.
But the reason why you get up every morning to go out there and push yourself and push your limits a little further every single day.
Yes.
That takes a lot of energy. That takes a lot of desire. And so again, that's probably the hardest part: renewing the motivation.
Okay. All right. So
luckily enough, in 2018, I was able to get it back and went back to Badwater and had a good time that time.
I see that. I see that. See, so you definitely overcome that obstacles. You climb that hill.
Yeah.
You climbing all the way to the top, you know.
Yeah. Fortunate. I was fortunate enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome. I love that. The opposite. What brought you the biggest joy in your life so far?
Ooh. Well, I gotta tell you, as a runner, that Badwater win.
Yeah.
Like as if we talk about experiences, those desert crossing in Chile, in Mongolia, those are like an incredible, life experience. But if we're talking about as a runner, Badwater crossing the finish line truly was the crowning of my biggest dream.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. It's because it was like a perfect 7-year cycle.
Yeah.
I read the book at the end of 2010. I started running in 2011. So 2011 to 2018, 7 years in which I was inspired by Dean.
Nice.
Inspired by Badwater, because he talks about Badwater in his book
Yeah.
as the ultimate challenge, as the ultra.
Yeah.
And so to me, it always represented that staple.
Yeah.
The challenge.
Yeah.
It's not just an ultra. It's not just a long ultra, 135 miles, but it's the most extreme environment on the planet. So he always had incredible allure to me. And 7 years later, going from not runner to win in Badwater, it was a perfect cycle coming to a perfect.
You can write you can dream about someone like that, you know. But you make it happen. You make it happen. Yeah.
I feel like it's a great privilege,
Yeah.
to be able to be in that position and experience that.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. So all that running, do you make time for anything else? Like, what are you like outside running? What makes you laugh? Whatever.
Well, up until let's say last spring, before COVID hit, before the pandemic came, I was working, managing my time in between training, and I was a yoga and mindfulness. I was a yoga instructor, meditation instructor at this mindfulness retreat in Malibu.
Okay, oh, nice, Malibu.
Where I worked for several years, and then of course COVID hit, and I decided to make a change.
Okay.
And in a way, it was almost, I would say, the stepping stone for me to take on fully to completely submerge myself and focus 100% on this craft. Because before, of course, I was training and I was doing my thing, but I was also working several hours a week in that place.
Yeah.
Which of course would take away focus and energy. Yeah. But now, it's been a blessing in the past 9 months to be able to dedicate myself fully to the craft. And, the victory in Moab was a great result, to come off with. And, that gave me even more, that propelled me even further, gave me even more motivation to keep on dedicating myself to this art.
Okay, that's great. So I always ask everybody this at the end. So what is your boundless motivation or thoughts in a few words?
The boundless motivational thought, man, that's all there. I mean, the idea that I think let's say the starting point of it all, the main focus point is the fact that ultras, and that's what fascinated me the most about this discipline, is the fact that once we allow ourselves to push beyond our perceived limitations, we realize that we are all, not just a few, all of us, capable of a lot more than what we think we can.
Okay, then.
And that's so empowering. That's so powerful. That's like a fire that stays within you.
Yeah.
And that's something you cannot buy anywhere.
Yes.
That's something you have to gain for yourself. That's something you have to earn
Yeah. Yeah.
with miles, with sweat, with tears, and sore joints. But once you do it, once you accomplish what you set out to do,
Yeah.
whichever distance it was, doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Okay.
Once you cross the finish line, that sentiment, that emotion, that
Yeah.
feeling
Yeah.
will remain for you for the rest of your life.
Yes. Yes.
And that's truly being boundless.
Okay. I like that. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes. And so, where could people find you at or keep up with you?
Right. Well, I'm relatively active on Instagram.
Yes. Okay.
I do have a Facebook account, though I over the years I slowly drifted away. There's a little too much madness and noise in there.
Yeah.
I like Instagram. It's a little,
Yeah.
it's good to keep in contact, but not
Yeah.
necessarily so crowded.
I know.
So Instagram will be the place to go.
Okay.
And my handle is Mickey, Mickey, and my last name is Graglia, Graglia.
Okay. Also, that's cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mickey. I mean,
Yeah.
just
Kenneth, I really appreciate the opportunity to share my stories, and just a little heads up, just a little, anticipation to what's coming. I am in the process right now of publishing a book.
Oh, nice.
So hopefully in the spring, it's going to be launched anywhere in the country and actually internationally. So
Okay.
I'm sure we'll be in touch, and hopefully
Yes.
we'll get it out there. We'll get the word out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Anytime you want to come back and be interviewed, so definitely I'll open the interview once again, after your book come out, talk about your book,
I'll definitely send you a copy as soon as we're ready.
Gratitude, I mean, just been gratitude since I started this. I mean, gratitude for the beginning, is a humbling experience for me to
Totally.
introduce, first from falling in love with running and trail running and get a chance to meet so many people here in San Diego area, just connect throughout the world.
It's a beautiful community, the one that we have. So I definitely reciprocate the sentiment.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you for taking the time out of your day and just joining me and the Live Run Boundless family.
Of course, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you again so much.
Yes, and thank you, Live Run Boundless family, for joining me in another episode of Live Run Boundless. Just living a life beyond the boundary that you set on yourself. Until next time.